All right, so we have a code for P064 Charlie dash 00. Just so you can see, let me get the key on the on position. Let's get that going. Just want to make sure you guys see this. All right, so P064 Charlie 00 glow plug control module performance. Now, this most common thing could be the glow plug module or the wiring or the glow plugs itself. The box truck has about 205,000 miles, so I mean, I highly doubt these guys ever service it. This is like one of their work trucks in that matter. So I mean, I know these guys don't take care of it. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna show you in this video how to test to make sure it's either the glow plug, make sure it's either the wiring or whatever. I think there's a way to test out the glow plugs. I think you can do it by resistance and so forth. I'm not too keen on diesel, so if any of you guys out there are a lot more smarter than, or well more informed than me on this diesel stuff, just comment down below on that and so forth. If you have a better way of testing out the glow plugs, please comment down below. I mean, the more the merrier. What we're trying to do in this community is help you guys learn, help you save money. Obviously, I'm in the mechanic industry and I got to make money to make a living, but I do not mind to help you guys that are trying to get going. And so if you haven't already, again, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions or would like to give answers, and then hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And we're going to go ahead and start this video right after the intro. All right, today I'm going to be showing you how to test the glow plugs and glow plug control module, and to make sure your wire and you're getting power and ground to your whole unit. Now, with this being said, you need to make sure you have a good working battery in this common sense. If you don't, then obviously how are you going to get enough power to the whole module? Make sure your alternator is working properly before even doing that, because if you don't have a good working alternator, obviously it would not be able to power the function and the control units of the computers and all that. So to locate your glow plug computer module, it's actually located right above the valve cover right here where I have this harness disconnected. So I already did some testing on it prior to this video just to make sure, so I can make everything pretty common and sense. So we have at terminal 1 our main power wire feed right here. Then from this power wire, it gets sent from right here, and then our computer control module lets know when to send a signal to the other units of the glow plug, when to be powered on, and so forth. Now, needless to say, a bad glow plug can overwork these computer control modules over time, as I was doing my research. Now, so you can do a quick test on this. Now, you might have a bad wire harness or you could have a bad glow plug. So needless to say, make sure you do your procedures right. So let's say if we're going to test the resistance from the wire harness, just to make it quick without pulling off each glow plug. Let's say you find high resistance in one specific harness, you need to make sure that it's not your harness and that it's the glow plug. So being said, when you disconnect this guy right here and you're testing that, so let's say cylinder number 2 has a good amount of resistance. So what you want to do is focus on that cylinder number 2, take off unbolt there's these little bolts right there. I believe that's like a 10 millimeter bolt. No, probably a little bit smaller. It looks about an 8 millimeter. So take off that 8 millimeter, then your harness comes out. Then you want to go ahead and test out your resistance from there to there. Now, if your resistance is dead on, then you're going to just replace that glow plug. But at that point, you might just replace all your glow plugs just to make sure that the car is running efficiently and everything's been replaced at the same time, because you don't want to buy one thing and keep going back and forth on the road. You rather do the job right. It's like buying a pair of shoes. You don't want to buy one shoe, you want to buy both shoes. All right, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So let's go ahead and get on with this step. All right, first things first, you need a good multimeter. So obviously we're going to set our multimeter to voltage. I'm going to be setting it to 20 volts because that's all that's going to be needed on a 12-volt system. So we need to make sure we're getting voltage to our computer. Now this is going to be our white and black wire right here, and you're just going to go ahead and pull this tab, slightly wiggle it back and forth. Don't go up and down. You can see our tabs are going up in here and the bottom. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to put one tab right here. This should be hot at all times. Now I'm not going to force it in there. I'm just going to hang it out right there. Then we need to find a good ground. So I'm just going to kind of scrape right up in here on the fuel rail, and we got a 12.45 volts. That is the same amount of voltage on the battery. All right, so we know we got voltage to it. So let's go ahead and connect that back in. All right, so next step, we need to make sure that we're getting voltage to our feed from the glow plug right here. So with it being said, terminal 5 black and blue wire is going to be our another voltage. We're going to need to have the key on the on position for that. So go in the vehicle, put the key on the on position, but not running. So right here, as you can see, I'm going to turn the key. So 1, 2, that's run but not starting, and all your lights should illuminate. When doing this, you need to be very, very cautious on how you're testing this, because you could damage something like the computer control module. Now, if you weren't getting voltage to this, you need to check your wiring and see if there's any short to grounds, check your fuse or your relay. If those check out fine, then you obviously got some electrical problems and you need to go ahead and correct that as needed. So right here, we have, starting from our red, let me get that zoomed in. So we have red as our terminal 1. This will be our bottom row. And then right here where this little green piece is, this little rubber, that's terminal 7. So it's going to go 1. So starting from the little red wire, so we got 1. Number 2 is going to be our green. 3 is going to be our pink. Blue is going to be our 4th. And then there's a black wire that's right down below right here. That's going to be our 5th. So that's actually black and blue, but it's really hard to see the blue in there. And then right here on terminal number 6, that's our blue wire. That's this last one right here. Then this would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 would be our black, and then 12 would be our blue white. So right now what we need to go ahead and do, we need to go ahead and connect our terminal into number 5. So with this, I have a little quick pick. So when doing this, this is going to be a hot wire, so be careful. So make sure you have insulation, put a rag, hang it around, so forth, because that is a hot wire and you could damage the computer. And that's the last thing that we want to damage, a working part. So same process, make sure you're holding the other end of the tip, because I just want to make sure we're all clear on this. We don't want to damage anything else. So we're going to make sure we're getting voltage. So we are getting 12.1, 12.2 volts or 20 volts. So we are working perfectly fine on that. So we're actually getting voltage from the computer. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this out. Hang that right there. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this back, or we need to go ahead and, so the next step is we need to make sure that we have ground. So terminal number 11, we got to make sure we have ground. So 11 is going to be right here. I'll show you that right now in a little bit. So right there, that's terminal 11 where I have that green little pin at. So make sure you see that. So 12 is right here, and then 11 is right there. So 11 is going to be black, just complete black. All right, so with my test lead, I had needed an extension to get to a positive terminal, because again, we're checking for ground. If not, you can go on the positive terminal of the starter, so right here, but just be careful when you're doing that, because whatever you're testing is going to be hot. So this side right here, I have it connected. I have a little extension that you can get at your local Harbor Freight store, and I have it connected to the positive terminal that's right back there. So right here, with this guy being connected, make sure your terminal's connected right. So we got a good ground. So as you can see right there. All right, cool, we are set and done. So make sure you go ahead and disconnect that. All right, so we need to go ahead and test our wires and our glow plugs right here. So we're gonna go ahead and just connect this, pop this right out. So we need to make sure we have a good resistance on these. So starting from terminal 1, terminal 2, terminal 3, and terminal 4. So those are the ones that we're gonna need to check. So with one wire being on the ground and then the other wire being right here, we're gonna go ahead and set our thing to 200 ohms because we need to measure between 0.5 to about 3.5 ohms. So as long as they're all within resistance specs, they're all matching, then they're going to be ideally the same. So right there we have, oh, let me let you know, make sure you connect your test leads, and then whatever, let's say if there was a 5 on there, you need to go ahead and minus that 5 from whatever the amount is that you get. So let's say if you get 20 ohms and you know you already have 5 on there, let's say you can see that 16 whatever and so forth, you need to go ahead and deduct it from the 20 ohms. So if you have right there, so 3 ohms right there, and then we get a 20, our next step when we're testing, we get 20 volts. That from that 20 volts we need to subtract 5 volts or 5 ohms from that, and then we would have 15, just because that's what our calibration is set to. So all right, so let's go ahead and test our resistance. So we got 0, so we're gonna go to 2, so we got 0, and we're gonna go to 3, we got 0, and then we got 4, we got 0. So those are all within specs, so they're all again on each other and so forth. So if one of those was out of resistance, like I said, you would go ahead and check one of those wires and then replace if it's either the glow plug or in that. So in my situation, when my car gets hot, the glow plug actuator gets faulty. So about when the car gets when it's starting to get a little bit warmed up, when this module gets hot, it starts becoming defective. So I already know this is at fault because it's obviously the issue if everything checks out, because when it's cold everything is working perfectly fine as versus when it's hot. But if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching.